Hi, I'm Chloe and welcome back to my channel. It is time to run down everything I read in January. Cue intro. So in January, I read a total of 8 books, which I'm happy with. It's put me ahead of my reading goal for the year, so I think it's a strong start. Book-wise as well, I had a pretty solid month. So let's talk about it. I'm very excited to talk you through them all. So I started the year off with First Time Caller by B.K. Borison. If you've not heard of this book, which I'll be very surprised about, this is a romance novel that is based around 2 characters working in radio. So it follows Aidan and Lucy. Lucy is struggling today and her daughter calls in to Aidan's romance-ish, he's sort of given up on it, radio show, saying, my mum needs help. And the world, maybe not the world, but the audience absolutely fall in love with Lucy and her story because it's so unbelievably relatable. And she goes on to the radio show in her search for love. I ate this book up. This was so good. This was so good. I say all of that. The first 100 pages didn't like grip me, didn't pull me in. I actually was reading the first 100 pages and thinking, what is all the hype about? Why are we here? And then I couldn't even tell you what moment it was in the book, but it just swept me off my feet. And then I read it all there and then. I finished the book. It took me a few days to read the first 100 pages, and then it read me one night to read the last 300. Even though the circumstances of Aidan and Lucy's relationship is so unlikely to happen in real life, but their relationship and growth and bond together felt so unbelievably realistic and genuine. And that is what makes a romance for me, is if I believe that that bond is real. That's how I felt coming out of this book. It felt like they went through their challenges. They were trying to navigate this bizarre situation that they found themselves in. And they both came out as stronger people. They both dealt with their own issues. So as much as their growth was to build their relationship, I guess, their growth was also detrimental to them as people, which is what it is genuinely like in real life. You've got to grow as a person to then grow within the relationship. And sometimes romance novels just don't get that. I don't know why, because that's literally what all of us go through, but whatever. Next up, we had a complete and utter shift, probably couldn't get more opposite if you tried. And I read The Boy in Striped Pajamas by John Boyne. What can I say about The Boy in Striped Pajamas? I don't know. I'm 3 weeks past me reading this book and I'm still struggling to put into words. So I went into The Boy in Striped Pajamas not knowing anything about the story. Obviously, I knew when it was based. I knew where it was based. I am talking like everybody knows what the story is, and I'm assuming majority you do, but this follows a family who have moved into a house opposite Auschwitz because the father of the family, he's very high up in the Nazi regime, I guess. He has 2 kids. This follows his son, Bruno, who doesn't understand what he can see in this house. He doesn't understand what's happening in this house. And he is wandering around. He's trying to find somewhere to explore because he wants to be an explorer. And he finds this other child who is in striped pajamas. Reviewing this book kind of feels a little bit wrong because yes, this is a fiction novel, wasn't all that long ago, and you will absolutely know that something like that could have and might have happened. What did I write? I think if I just read you what I wrote. Okay, I wrote, I'm finding it really tough to review this book. Giving it a rating sort of feels wrong. I maintain that. I didn't know the story as I've never seen the film, which is, yeah, and I'm not going to watch it. I could tell where it was going. I gathered pretty quickly how it would end. The innocence of Bruno's perspective just made it sadder. And that also in itself felt kind of wrong, because I felt sad for the child of a Nazi. You know, like, they're not the ones you're supposed to feel sad for. But I did. But we're going to move on now. We next went on to read Tress of the Emerald Sea by Brandon Sanderson. This is my first ever Brandon Sanderson book, and I am happy to say that I will be continuing to read his works. So this follows, you guessed it, Tress, and she has a wonderful friend and love on her rock who is called Charlie. Charlie is royal on the rock, and he gets taken away. He gets taken away and sort of held hostage by someone called the Sorceress. And Tress is like, I'm going to go free him. I'm a badass girl and I'm going to go do this myself because none of you are daring to do it because she is a scary person. And I'm like, go on, Tress. Do it. Do it like that. Love the attitude. And along the way, she finds herself on a pirate ship and she becomes a pirate, and she's just trying to navigate it while finding her way to the Sorceress to rescue her Charlie. Overall, I really enjoyed this book. The writing style of it really surprised me. I didn't expect it to be so conversational, but I really enjoyed it. The ending, however, felt quite rushed. I don't know if anyone else thought this, but I feel like we should have had more time. How do I say any of this without spoiling the book? I don't know. But yeah, I do feel like we should have had more time on the island at the end of the book. And that annoyed me a little bit. It dropped its rating. The character work is really, really strong throughout this book. There's so many characters that I enjoyed. Tress herself, Hook, Ford. There's so many, like so many of the pirates. Anne, oh my god, I loved Anne. Yeah, so many of the characters that I absolutely fell in love with, and if his character work is that strong throughout all of his books, I think me and Brandon Sanderson are gonna get on really, really well. Next up, so this is technically a reread, but I was like 13, 14 when I read this book. I am now 26, turning 27. Is that right? Yes, that's right. And I barely remembered the aspects of the book. I remember the aspects of the movie because obviously I've seen it loads of times, but the book, no. So technically a reread, but I was essentially reading it like it was new. And that's Twilight by Stephanie Meyer. I read this during my 24-hour reading challenge. Check out that video if you would like to. And this was the highlight of the challenge for me. This was the absolute highlight of the challenge. I freaking loved it. I loved it. Oh my god, I was eating all of it up. So for like the first 100 pages, yeah, like not a whole lot happens. You know, they meet. She's like, why are you so like mysterious? I really want to get to know you. And he's like, oh my god, no, stay away from me, but love me, but stay away from me. You know, it's just sort of that vibe for the first 100 pages. Not much happens. Like, what do you mean I was eating up 100 pages when next to nothing of significance really happens other than the fact that she nearly dies? I'll give you a quick rundown, but, you know, it's Twilight. I feel like everyone knows the story of Twilight. So obviously this follows Bella and Edward. So Bella has recently moved to the dismal town of Forks, and in her new high school she makes a few friends, and there is this mysterious guy called Edward who she is just drawn to, and he is quite literally obsessed with her. Obsessed. But there's just something that's, not quite human about Edward, and this is the journey of their getting together, her discovering his secret, and a little bit of danger at the end. How exciting. I mean, I feel like everyone knows Twilight. It's weird to be like sort of like giving you a brief synopsis because this was so big during my childhood. So yeah, like I said, I completely ate the first like 100, 200 pages of this up. The middle part, when they were, officially like, oh, we're dating, we're like falling for each other, it got a bit slow. Nothing really happened other than, oh, they've shocked the school that they're dating. Oh, all of these people are upset about it because they all fancy Bella, which I understood more in the books because she's a much more full character in the books than she is in the movies. In the movies, no offense to Kristen Stewart, you're a beautiful human being, but I did think, why are all the guys like tripping over Bella? But like in the book, I get it. So yeah, that's literally what the middle section is. Oh my god, they're dating. I can't believe it. Why is she dating me? That's literally it. But then when they go to that baseball game, I was playing Supermassive Black Hole in my head and I was ready to go. And then the action just went and I loved it. Then I followed it up with Practice Makes Perfect by Sarah Adams. The lovely Beth got me this for Christmas. And I just adore Sarah Adams' books. So I thought this would be a nice little like palette cleanser. And I was 100% right. It absolutely is. So this follows Annie and Will. So we meet both of these in When in Rome. This is the, I would say sequel, but the sort of like they're standalones. They're interconnected standalones. That's the word I was looking for. So we already have a brief knowledge of these characters, but obviously they become a lot more developed throughout this book. Annie is ready to start dating to find her husband. And Will is the bodyguard, but don't call him that, to the main character from When in Rome, Amelia, who is a musician. He is back in town because Amelia's wedding is coming up and it's just gaining some traction in the press. So they just want to send him over just to make sure that everything's going to be okay throughout it. And Annie is so attracted to Will, but shocker, Will is also extremely attracted to Annie. But Will is sort of peer pressured into teaching Annie how to date because Annie just isn't comfortable on dates. So he is tasked with helping her feel more comfortable on her path in dating. And it sort of grows from there. In every single book that I have read by Sarah Adams, I've always said her relationships feel so genuine, and I maintain it again throughout this book. The fact they see each other's flaws and they accept each other's flaws. It's not, oh, you're perfect. Yes. No, they are genuinely like seeing each other's flaws, seeing each other for what they truly are and accepting them and helping them in any way and allowing each other to grow. Once again, this book has a really strong case of each character grows. They help each other grow, but they grow individually, and that also helps their relationship. There was a few cringy moments. There really was, but that's fine. It's a romance novel. Like, what do you expect, really? There's only like so many times you can write a romance novel without having like a cringe thing happen, It's not my favorite Sarah Adams, but it's up there. I really I remember this more than I remember When in Rome. I know I've only just read this one, but like I don't remember a whole lot from When in Rome. But Amelia, I can tell you now, I preferred her in this book than I did in When in Rome. I thought she was so funny throughout this book. So funny. Blood Over Brighthaven by M.L. Wang. I'm really annoyed. Really annoyed. I think I'm annoyed at myself more than I'm annoyed at the book. I think I went into this book with too high expectations, and it was nowhere near hitting them. Nowhere near hitting them. So this follows, how do you say it? Sakona? Yeah, I'm just going to go with Sakona. So this follows Sakona, who is on her journey of becoming the first female high mage, and she does it! Woo! Great! Fantastic! And she is tasked with researching and developing spells, things like that. And she starts to discover some dodgy stuff within the council. And she is partnered with Thomil. I like him, but also I don't. So, I can't feel my foot. So Thomil is her assistant, and he is trying to help her with everything that she needs to learn. But when she actually discovers the truth, he like full on like ditches her, being like, she is in denial, because of course she is. That would be a natural response. But he just goes, well, screw you, and leaves. And he sort of refuses to help her. I don't know what it was. There were some really, really high moments throughout this book. There were some really, really high moments. The high moments were very high moments for me. But all of the other moments, I was a little bit bored. And that's what annoys me. Sakona was a very complicated character, and I really enjoyed that. She is very complex. She was going through a lot, and she was responding in a very, in my eyes, understandable way, while all the people around her were not being very understanding. She was probably like my highlight of the book, which is good because, you know, she's the FMC. So that's a strong highlight. The hint of romance that's in this book, that doesn't need to be there. That's a bit unwarranted. It didn't further the story. It didn't make me go, oh yay. It just didn't feel needed. It didn't need to be there. The ending, obviously I won't tell you what it is, but it did feel very fitting, which is good. But overall, I was a bit let down. Maybe in a few months, I might revisit it, I might reread it and see if it was just because my expectations were too high. Next up, I read very quickly, literally took me 15 minutes, The Nightmare Before Christmas. I did that because, so unfortunately, Catherine O'Hara has died, and obviously she plays Sally Stitches. Yeah, that's the only reason. I love Catherine O'Hara. I think she's fantastic in everything I've seen her in, and she's in quite a few of like my comfort movies and Schitt's Creek, which I love as well. So I was just a bit sad about her passing, so I thought, oh, let me just read this to bring me some joy. And it did bring me the joy. I'm not going to say much about it because it's literally A Nightmare Before Christmas. This is literally just a very brief written out version of it. It's so brief. It could be longer. It really could. Like I said, it took me 15 minutes. But it's cool though. I mean, look how pretty it is. And throughout, it shows you like the original drawings and like sketches of characters. It's fun. But like, you know, what do you expect it to be? And then last but not least, can you all get ready for a rant? And you know what? I apologize to the stands of this book because you are about to hate me. Shatter Me by Tahara Mafi. What the hell is this book? What the hell is this book? Right. Are you ready? Are you ready? Let's go. So this follows Juliet. Juliet has a gift, curse, whatever you want to call it. And she is in a psychiatric hospital as she's deemed like a danger to society. She is then taken away by someone called Warner. So Warner works for the army, and there is also somebody called Adam there who is assigned to keep his eye on Juliet. The premise of this book is so promising. The premise of this book is so interesting, and I want someone to redo it, please. someone else redo it because I think the kit would be better. This is a YA fantasy, and I'm not slugging this off because it's YA. I need to put that out there because I enjoy YA. I've read a fair few YA books and I've enjoyed them all. This though, no. I didn't vibe with this book whatsoever. Juliet as a narrator and the FMC, she annoyed the living crap out of me. I did not care for her. I did not feel sorry for her like I feel like I was supposed to. Adam, he felt childish and irrelevant. And Warner, like I said, he's just a dick. And I did not enjoy reading him whatsoever. And I don't want to read him. When you are writing a villain, I'm supposed to want to still read that villain because everyone loves, to quote Moriarty, everybody loves a good old-fashioned villain. Not this one. Oh my God, not this one. I was so bored. Like, it's so disappointing because, like I said, the premise of this book is so interesting and I should have been gripped. But I ended up hate reading the book. And the only reason I decided to keep going with the book is because I was reading it really bloody quickly. Like, really, really quickly. I was averaging like 120 pages in an hour. That's the only reason I kept going. Plus also, like, my group of bookish friends, turns out all of us don't like this book, so I enjoy that we can all sit and rant about it and I'll know what they're talking about because they've all finished the book as well. I do have these on my bookshelf. They're going away now. Now that I filmed this video, I have no need to keep this. So these are all going away now. And that is it. That is everything I read in January. I am hoping for a very successful February. Quite a solid January. I'm ahead of my reading goal. And overall, other than Shatter Me and maybe Blood Over Bright Haven, I had a solid month reading wise. Like, I enjoyed pretty much everything I read. So wonderful. So if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. In the comments below, please let me know what was your favourite read from January. And do not forget to subscribe if you want to, if you're not sick of seeing my face. I will talk to you all very, very soon. Bye!